Alright, this is a video that I actually think will be pretty good. Gotta keep my voice down a bit because my dad's asleep, but I will increase my volume in post, so hopefully it's good. Um, so I think 2 nights ago I watched Guardians of the Galaxy 2 again, and here's my history with this movie. When I saw it in theaters, I really liked it. Then when I watched it again at home, I didn't like it. But this time, when I watched it again, I really liked it again. So I guess that's my true opinion. So I got a lot of things to say about this movie. I have IMDb up and running so I can, look through the plot a little bit to keep me on track. And yeah, let's get started with that. I was gonna do one of these for Endgame and Infinity War, but I don't know. I just feel like this is something more people don't talk about. Okay, so at the end of Guardians 1, which I also watched recently, they basically allude to the fact that Quill could hold the Infinity Stone because he's like not fully human. So in this movie, we get to find out more about Quill's father. So in 1980s, Peter's father Ego visited Earth and fell in love with his mother. Basically, he was abducted by Yondu and the Ravagers, who were supposed to give him to his father, but he never did. We know that. And the movie starts with them fulfilling a bounty with the Sovereign people, which are these gold people that I really like. They're very pretty. And then they complete it, but Rocket just steals something from them, steals some batteries that are highly explosive for no reason, and then they're like tracked down by them and they barely escape with their lives and whatnot. And while this is happening in another planet, Yondu is hired by the Sovereign to track down Peter, Quill, and the Guardians of the Galaxy. Of course, Yondu was like the father figure to Quill, but he's kind of like a bit of a tough guy, and he wasn't the maybe kindest father, but there's always this like thing in the first movie where you feel like he's protecting him somehow. Also at this time, Yondu sees another Ravager who banishes him from the Ravagers because he says Yondu was trafficking children. And Yondu claims he did not know that they were being used for that purpose. Okay, so... Alright, so this sets up the whole movie. Yondu is basically like being pushed out of the Ravagers, and his own crew is unhappy with him. And then at the same time, there's this bounty on the Guardians of the Galaxy from the Sovereign. And basically, like I was saying with the Guardians of the Galaxy, they barely escape with their lives because this guy comes out of nowhere and blows up the entire fleet. This turns out to be Ego, who is Peter's father, played by Kurt Russell, who in my opinion is one of the best things about this movie. I really love Kurt Russell. I think he's like the most amazing actor. I don't know, there's something about him that is really cool. And fun fact, my parents actually saw Kurt Russell in an airport in Rome 2 years ago. So that's pretty cool. So, where are we? Okay. Ego takes them to their planet, which is weird and has no life on it, but it's like all him. He is the planet, and he explains his existence, where he realizes for the first time that Peter, Quill, can actually like manipulate the power of the planet just like he can. And there's a lot of scenes going back and forth, good, really funny stuff. where Nebula arrives on the planet and tries to kill Gamora, but they fight in a cave where they come upon a cavern full of like skeletons, which is the turning point of the film. Like, it's clear Ego is not a great guy. Okay, and then Ego reveals to Quill in his travels that he planted seedlings on thousands of worlds, which can terraform into extensions of himself. But he can only do that with the power of 2 Celestials. And to that end, he made thousands of children on thousands of worlds, and he hired Yondu to bring them back. And basically, Quill is the only child he had that could actually control the power. And Mantis at this time reveals to Drax, who she grew close to, that basically all the dead people in the caverns are his kids. So he kills his kids after he realized they didn't have power, the same power he did. That's why he liked Peter so much, because he can control the planet and he can use him as like a battery, basically. And at this time, like, another turning point sort of within this is Ego reveals that he killed his mother, implanted a tumor in her, basically because he was falling in love with her and didn't want to interrupt his plans. And at this point, Quill turns against his father and they go to blow up the center of the planet. Quill battles Ego with his powers in order to distract him enough to allow the Guardians of Madness to escape. The bomb explodes, killing Ego and disintegrating the planet, but Yondu sacrifices himself to save Quill, who realizes that the reason Yondu kept him was to spare him from the fate of Ego's other children, and that Yondu was Quill's true daddy, quote unquote. I did not use that word. It says it in the thing. Okay. Don't make it weird. Having reconciled with Gamora, Nebula chooses to leave and attempts to kill Thanos. And wants to kill Thanos, I should say. The Guardians hold a funeral for Yondu, who is redeemed and attended by dozens of Ravengers who acknowledge Yondu's sacrifice and accept him as a Ravager again. So that's basically the whole plot. I'm sorry that was a little bit boring, but there's a lot to get to here. Let's start like back up. So right away, this film was like really fun. Like the beginning credits is just like a musical scene with Groot dancing, who's like a baby in this film, and he's kind of like dumb and stuff. Throughout this film, there's amazing jokes. My 2 favorite characters are Drax and Yondu. Yondu because he's like actually given a really cool arc and like a redemption, and I think he's really cool. Drax has insanely well written dialogue, and Dave Bautista is like a really good deadpan comedian. He's so funny and like so dry, and like he always has like a bored tone in his voice. I know a lot about a bored tone in his voice, but not as funny, I guess. And he's just like the joy of the film. Every time he opens his mouth and says something, it's so funny and so like dumb. It's great. Also, another thing you gotta give this film credit for more than the first one is like some of the jokes are like more complex and like build up over a few scenes, and like the punchlines are really good. The only time it doesn't work is like there's a few jokes that don't really land and are a bit drawn out, but none of them involve Drax. I would say 90% of the jokes land in this film, and they're really funny. Action is good, but nothing like insane. The CGI is a problem. There's too much CGI, and it's like really ugly at points. And it's just like too colorful and stuff. It's just like, I don't know. The first one had a better balance. Like I said about Kurt Russell, he plays like, I don't know, he really like captured the feeling of like a god really well. He was like really, I don't know, I like something about like villains when like they're always in control. Like think of like Darth Vader or Hannibal Lecter is a good example. Joker too. But like, I'm referring more to like mental control. So I would say like Hannibal, like where he like always takes the conversation how he wants it to go, and he's like the man, you know, he knows everything, and he's sort of the power in the film. And in this film, Ego does a really good job of like giving like this godlike and fatherly influence. Also, like, the plot twist was that he was killing the children and that he killed his mother was actually like really good. But I would say the heart of this film is actually Yondu. I would say like Drax is the laughs, but Yondu is the real story, and Peter Quill realizing that Yondu was his like true dad and that he protected him all along despite his like harsh behavior. Basically, Yondu's sacrifice, I'll be honest, it actually got some tears out of me. It's a really beautiful scene, which is pretty impressive for a movie that kind of doesn't take itself as seriously as some of the other films in the MCU. But really good. The actor is amazing, and then that final sacrifice where he sacrifices himself for his son, Peter, and basically redeems himself and shows that, you know, he had more to offer than just like smuggling and stealing and whatnot. Also, Mantis is a really cool new character, and her relationship with Drax is really funny. Where like Drax insists that she's hideous and believes that she's coming on to him and whatnot. It's really fun. I really like this movie. I know I don't do a great job of explaining everything, but I really recommend that you should go watch it. And I'm sorry for the lack of energy. I'm just a little, I told you I have to keep my voice down, but also just a little I'm out of energy in general. Yeah, and also there's like another little arc between Gamora and her sister Nebula, where they sort of like get a better relationship in this movie. I don't know, it's just there's like lots of little character arcs, and like I feel like everybody in the team really grows in this film. And also another thing that James Gunn should get a lot of credit for is he kind of like made these characters like really likable. And you know what the proof of that is? Okay, I bought some right after I watched this movie, I bought like a Drax little figure, and I bought a Yondu one because I was like, I love those characters. I want to put them on my shelf. I think they're really nice. And I would say like Drax is one of the funniest characters I ever saw. So that's a big compliment. And Yondu is really cool. I like his like weapon. I like his voice. I like his like color. That's weird. I like that he's blue. He's also funny in a way, but he's also a cool character. But yeah, that's basically my revisited view on this film. I think that it has a lot to offer in terms of like character development and all that. And you know what? I don't know which one's better, number 1 or 2. Number 1 is definitely more, it has less flaws for sure. It's directed better, but I feel like you learn way more about the characters in this film, and like you sort of like them more. So give it a shot. I'm sorry that I couldn't go more in depth in this video, but I did my best. Alright, thank you. Sussy Boy out. We gotta win, bam, chain.